Hey everybody, this is Dallin with Dallin Parker Consulting, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of Know Your Triggers. Today's trigger is a quiet but powerful one, and it's when a file is created in OneDrive, specifically OneDrive for Business. Here's the problem that this solves. Let's say someone uploads a file, drops it into a shared folder. Now everyone just hopes that somebody sees it. Maybe it's something that needs to be reviewed, or maybe it's a client upload. Maybe it kicks off a process. But without automation, someone has to manually follow up and things slip through the cracks. With this trigger, that changes. You can automatically notify your team in Teams when a new file comes in. You can send an email to a reviewer with a link to the file, rename it, organize it, so that everything stays clean. You can copy or move it to a SharePoint file folder or a shared project library. You can even kick off an approval process automatically. In our example, we're monitoring a client's folder in OneDrive for Business. This is where proposals are being dropped in. And in the proposal file, there are two tables. So once the file is dropped into our folder, we're grabbing the details from those two tables. One is proposal name, one is proposal details. Then we're creating a copy of this file in a SharePoint location. In this case, it's our demo test site for the finance group. And then we're also updating it as something that has been submitted. Once that property is updated, we're then kicking off an approval flow and waiting for a response. If we were to continue this out, then we could say when the response comes back, if it's rejected or approved, we change the status of the file and we notify the person who uploaded it. But in this case, we're just stopping with the start and wait for an approval step. So we have a pre-populated proposal. Let's grab that and drop it in. We're just calling it today's proposal. There we go. We see that it's being uploaded. If we refresh this, we've got our file in here. And as I said, we're going through and saying, okay, give me the information from this file. Let's look at the project name table. Let's get the project details table. Then we're creating a file and we're giving it a special name. So we're looking at the project name from this, the project name output from this step, and then appending the file name to it. So if we go here, we'll see in this case, the project name was brand new project example, and the file name was today's proposal. So we can see that that's populated. And let's go see what this approval looks like. There's a brand new project example, today's proposal Excel file. There's a new proposal to approve, and then we could click this. It would open in desktop, and we can then review the information, approve and reject it straight from here. In this case, let's just go ahead and approve it. And it's submitting our response. So now if we go back to our flow, let's go back here to our flow and take a look at that run. Give this a moment to load. So we can see that when the file was created, it got all the information. And the final thing here, we see that the approval response was tagged as approve. So you could see how you could continue with this flow, with this step. You could come back in and change this status to approved if you so chose. There are a number of things you could have done with this flow to simplify the work process and the workflow. So if your work depends on files arriving, such as contracts, reports, or invoices, maybe creative assets, this trigger keeps work flowing without waiting on someone to kind of do that follow up of, hey, did you see this file? And just remember that automation isn't about doing less work. A lot of people get hung up on that, trying to find out how they can do less work. It's really about removing the delays between work. So that air quote work of the follow up and the, hey, did you see that I sent you that file? Or, hey, I loaded that file. We're trying to remove all of that delay between those steps so that the work can continue in a very smooth fashion. So here's my question for you. With something like this, where could this fit into your business or team workflow? Drop some examples in the comments and I will go through those and create the process flows and the power automations for those so that you can just copy and paste straight into your system and we can streamline your process. Also, don't forget to follow the series and subscribe. Next week, we're going to hit another trigger that unlocks some serious productivity. See you then.